Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and today we're going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I have seen this on YouTube for all of the years that I have been watching BookTube, which is like, what, 4 or 5 now? This is just like a tag that people do around the middle of the year where it's kind of like a wrap-up of the middle of the year and for the first half of the year and what you are excited about for the second half. So there's, I think, 12 or 13 questions that I'm just going to go through and I will answer them and it'll be fun. It'll probably be a short video, but it'll be fun. I don't know who originally started this tag, so I cannot tag them, like let you know down below. But if you want to see some other people who have recently done this tag, I know that Rachel from Rachel Reads and Sings did it recently, and also Sam from Sam Reads a Little are two people that I have watched theirs within the last week, I think. So if you want to watch some others, you can go watch theirs. So we're just gonna get right into it. So the first question on this tag is, what is the best book you've read so far in 2022? And my favorite book that I've read so far this year, the best book that I've read so far this year, is actually Manacled by Sun Lin Yu. It is a Harry Potter fanfiction. It is giant, like 700 pages. It's like really long. But it's a Harry Potter fanfiction that is follows a world in which Harry Potter has died and the Resistance has lost the war against Voldemort, and Hermione and Draco are together. It's a Hermione and Draco story, and it has about half of the book is in the present time and about half of the book is in the past. So in the past it discusses how Hermione and Draco were during the war and during the like main part of the war, and the present tense is after Harry Potter has died. Hermione has actually lost her memory and she is living with Draco in like an arranged forced marriage type situation. And it is incredibly dark and it has so many trigger warnings, but it is amazingly well done and it is so fantastic, and I would give anything to have a physical copy of this book. I am trying really hard to get one from a bookbinder, but it's been really hard because they're really hard to get, but I want one so badly. It is without a doubt going to be on my best books of 2022. I adore this story and it is everything. But if we want to talk about something that's not fan fiction and like a published story, I have no idea. Maybe Broken Vow by Sophie Lark is, which is part of the Brutal Birthright series. It is a bodyguard romance, a mafia romance where the heroine is in danger and a bodyguard named Raylan is assigned to watch and help out with her being in danger, and they go to his family's home in Texas, I believe, and they end up falling in love. So that is probably, or All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata, which is a Grumpy Sunshine single dad romance. Those two are probably very high up, going to be on my best books of 2022 list, but if we're actually talking about my #1 favorite book that I've read so far this year, it is Manacled. The second question that's on this tag is, what is the best sequel you've read so far in 2022? And I have two that I want to point out. The first one is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is a very chunky sequel to the very chunky first one, which is Crescent City House of Earth and Blood. Crescent City House of Earth and Blood is one of my all-time favorite books. It was on my favorite books list of whenever the year it came out, I believe 2020. I have a tattoo planned that I will be getting that's based off of that book. So that House of Earth and Blood meant a lot to me, and this book is the second one in that series, and it was fantastic. I gave it 5 stars. This is a fantasy romance series that has so much going on in it, and it is fantastic. Sarah J Maas is one of my all-time favorite authors, and she did an amazing job writing the sequel, and made me die for the next one that I'm going to have to now wait ages for. So this book was a fantastic sequel to House of Earth and Blood. And then the second one that I want to talk about that's my favorite sequel so far this year is The Long Game by Rachel Reed. Completely different direction. This is a hockey sports romance, and this is the sequel to Heated Rivalry by Rachel Reed. Heated Rivalry is a enemies to friends, enemies to lovers to enemies with benefits to friends to lovers, you know? It's a lot. It goes over multiple years, and it develops a relationship, and the end of Heated Rivalry ends in a happy for now, and this book was the long awaited sequel for to get their actual HEA. It was fantastic. I love Shane and Ilya so much. I would do literally anything for them. They are so amazing, top tier. It's up there with Him and Us for me. I absolutely adore this story, these characters, and I am so happy that Rachel Reed finally wrote their happily ever after. The next question is, what is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to? And there are so many for this that I could say. One that came out recently that I very much will want to read, but we'll probably have to wait until the audiobook comes out, is Give Me More by Sarah Kate. It's a poly MMF romance. That's the next book in the Salacious Players Club. It's a sex club. The 2 characters are married, and then a third, who is the best friend of the 2 of them that are married, joins their relationship. I've heard amazing things about it, and I really want to read it. Another one that's a new release that's like from last month, I believe, is Always Practice Safe Hex by Juliet Cross from the Stay a Spell series. I absolutely love the Stay a Spell series, and I have been wanting to read Always Practice Safe Hex so badly, but they don't have an audiobook yet, and I haven't gotten around to the ebook yet. I just don't get to ebooks as often as I get to audiobooks, because I can do audiobooks while doing other things, and I actually have to be like fully sitting down and like focused on it to read an ebook. So I haven't gotten to Always Practice Safe Hex yet, but I really want to. That's a paranormal romance. There are so many more that I could talk about because I am so bad at getting to new releases, but those are 2 that are like absolutely at the top of my TBR. As soon as audiobooks come out for those, I will be reading them, and I'm very excited. The next one is most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and this one's hard because I often don't know what new releases are coming out, because I read about 98% indie published romance, and a lot of indie authors announce their releases like really soon to when they're gonna be releasing them. So like they'll do like have a release like a month or 2 in advance. So I don't know a whole bunch of ones that will be coming out, but some of the ones that I know are coming out is Rogue by Eden Finley, which is the next book in her Mike Bravo series. That's a military contractors series. I'm really excited for that one. She just announced that that one is going to be coming out soon. And Serena Bowen, Devney Perry, and Rebecca Yarros are doing another series where they each write 1 book in the series, and it's like mountain snow themed. So that series is coming out in like October, I think, and Love Lessons by Serena Bowen I think comes out in July, so like super soon. I'm on her ARC team, and we just signed up to get the ARCs for that one. So I'm really excited about that one. That's part of her Brooklyn Bruiser series. Oh, another one that I want to read is hopefully Gianna Darling will get back to her release of Caution to the Wind, because that one had to be pushed back and like postponed because of her whole Instagram, Facebook issue. So I'm really hoping Caution to the Wind will release sometime this year, which is her next book in the Fallen Men series, which is one of my all-time favorite series. So I'm really excited about that. Carla Sorensen's book that comes out that's next in line after The Plan. I don't remember, but I will put a picture or something on the screen of, I don't even think the cover's been released yet, but it's what the title is. I'll write it on the screen. But that's Carla Sorensen's new book that is coming out in the second half of the year, and I'm really excited about it. So yeah, there's a whole bunch, I'm sure. And I'm sure that I'm missing some because, again, a lot of the times they don't announce them super far in advance. The next question is biggest disappointment of the year. And this one's difficult because I'm so bad at this, but two that come to mind are both of Megan Quinn's sequels to books that I loved. I really loved A Not So Meet Cute, and I loved Kiss and Don't Tell by Megan Quinn, and both of those sequels have released in the first half of the year, and I hated those three little words, and I DNF'd. So Not Meant to Be. So those were really big disappointments. Another one that was a bit of a disappointment, but not to the like same extent, is Kiki Clark's Hunter and His Mates. I still gave that book 3.5 stars, but considering that the other books in the series were all 5 stars, the 3.5 star was a huge disappointment. So I still enjoyed that book, but it was like, it was not as good as I had built it up in my head that it would be, based off of the fact that I loved the first 3 in the series. But yeah, those are the only ones that I can think of off like the top of my head right now. The next question is biggest surprise, and I think that I might have to go with Sicko by Amo Jones for this one. This one is a step sibling, or actually I think they're foster sibling romance that I read for a book that my favorite booktubers had recommended to me, and Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl had recommended Sicko by Amo Jones, and I didn't really I didn't have a lot of expectations going in, but I didn't really think that it was going to be like for me, but I ended up really enjoying it, so that was super exciting. Another thing that was a big surprise was the 2 priest romances that I've read, Lessons in Sin and Beautiful Sinner by Sarah Kate. Were both priest romances that I read, and I had never read priest romances, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed those. Also, Tate James, Madison Kate, and Hades series. I got super into reverse harems for like a hot second there, and that was a big surprise. I did not think that reverse harems and Omegaverse were gonna be like the thing for me. But I ended up super enjoying them and having a great ass time reading the Madison Kate and the Hades series, and also Catherine Moon's Omegaverse series. So that was super, super surprising, and I'm really happy that I decided to go into those because that was a good surprise. Number 7 is favorite new to you author, and I have so many, but I think the 2 that like really stand out are Claire Kingsley. I read her whole Bailey Brothers series, the Miles Brothers series, and I've also reading her, I've started reading her Dirty Martini Running Club series, and I read her Blue Water Billionaires book, and I've really loved her books. I am so happy that she got me into small town romance, and that her books have introduced me to so many other new authors. Another author is Sarah Kate. I really, really loved almost everything that I've read by her, and I've read quite a bit by her now, and I'm really happy that I've started reading her this year. Number 8 is your newest fictional crush, and this is hard because literally every book that I like. But Raylan from Broken Vow is the probably favorite that I've got this year. Absolutely is a favorite. I have to go Raylan. He is everything. Number 9 is newest favorite character, and I'm gonna go with all of the Bailey brothers. All of them. Because like Evan Bailey really fits in like fictional crush, but I don't love, like not all of the Bailey brothers are boyfriend status or like book boyfriend status. So I think for favorite characters, I'm gonna have to go with the collective group of Bailey brothers because I just love their vibe. I love their relationship with each other. I think that they're hilarious and fun and sexy and swoony and enjoyable to read, and so I'm gonna go with them. Number 10 is another really hard question because it's a book that made you cry, and I don't cry very often. So I think that the last book that made me cry was last year. And again, if a book makes me cry, it's usually very rare, and it's something usually has to do with something that's going on with my life at that time, like something personal to me. Like the last book that made me cry was Dominate by Amy Dawes, and I think I read that last year. I'm pretty sure. I have to look that up. Yeah, I read it in the end of last year, but that was the last book to make me cry, and it made me cry because of a scene in the book where they have a funeral for the mother that died of cancer, and at the time one of my parents was being tested because they thought that they had cancer, so that was a really emotional moment for me, and that's why it made me cry, because it was something personal going on in my life. But that is the only times that really a book really like would make me cry. So I have none so far this year. Number 11 is a book that made you happy, and honestly, like literally any of them that I really enjoy. Reading in general makes me happy. It's my escape. It's my fun. It's the thing that I enjoy like more than anything else. So all of them. But if we're talking about like a laugh out loud and like a book that made me just like laugh and silly, I'm gonna go with Irresponsible Puckboy by Eden Finley and Saxon James. I incredibly loved this book. It's a friends to lovers MM hockey romance, and it's hilarious, and the characters are just absolutely ridiculous, and their romance is so funny and cute, and their friends are just play such a good role, and it just like made me happy to read. And it's like one of those ones that I feel like I will go back to if I'm like having a bad day to like help me get over them. Another one that I could say for a book that made me happy is usually Pippa Grant's books. It's known by much people who watch my channel. I've mentioned it many times, but when I'm not feeling well, I usually read Pippa Grant because she makes me laugh and makes me feel better, because her books are ridiculous and over the top and just like silly, but they're fun. And so the most recent one that I read by her was Last Eligible Billionaire, and that one was hilarious and ridiculous and so fun and just made me happy. So number 12 is the most beautiful book that you've bought this or received so far this year, and I have 3 that I pulled out that are all special editions. I absolutely adore when special editions put the heroines on the cover. I would love my books to have the heroines on the cover. So I have 2 that have the heroine on the cover. Both of them are from Hello Lovely Box, and both of them are books that I enjoyed. The first is Savage Lover by Sophie Lark. I just really love this Hello Lovely Box edition with the heroine on the cover. And then this one, Welcome to the Dark Side. I now own 4 copies of Welcome to the Dark Side. So this is a Hello Lovely Box exclusive with Lou on the motorcycle on the front. So I really love both of those. And then I also have to give a shout out to the Katie Robert Wicked Villains hardcover exclusive editions. This one I think is my favorite. It's Lessons, Learn My Lesson, and it has Hades, Meg, and Hercules on the cover, and I just think that it's perfectly done and captures them so incredibly well. Then number 13, the last question, is what book do you need to read by the end of the year? And the answer to this question is literally all of them. I have so many books that I want to get to by the end of the year, but some that really stand out to me are I want to read the rest of the Twisted series by Anna Huang. I've only read Twisted Love, and I really want to read Twisted Games and Twisted Hate and then Twisted Lies when it comes out. Another one that I've been really wanting to read recently, ever since I read my first Pam Godwin, is I want to read Dark Notes by Pam Godwin. I don't know why, there's just something about that book that makes me think that I'll like it. I want to read the Kingmaker series by Sophie Lark. I mentioned that, but I would love to read all of the Kingmaker series this year, preferably before I go see Sophie Lark in October in Las Vegas. So I think I can handle that. I think that is, I mean, there's many more, but I can't think of them off the top of my head, so I think that's just what we're gonna go with for this video. But that is it for this video. That's all the questions. So thank you so much for watching. Please like it if you liked it. Feel free to do this tag. Consider this me tagging you to do this tag. But that's it for this video. So please subscribe so that you can watch more videos from me. But that's it. So I hope you have a great day. Bye.